everybody. Welcome back to the I Play 2 podcast. I'm your host, Rob Adler. This week, UTSA quarterback Owen McCown joins the show. As a senior playing for Rusk High School in Texas, he threw for 36 touchdowns, over 3,300 yards, and was named District Offensive MVP. Now in his second season as full-time starter for the Roadrunners, he's thrown for over 4,000 yards, been named 2024 Myrtle Beach Bowl MVP, set single-game school records for longest rush by a quarterback and most passing yards. His father, Josh McCown, threw for over 17,000 yards in the NFL and was a three-time Offensive Player of the Week. His uncle, Luke McCown, also played quarterback in the NFL for a decade. And another uncle, Randy McCown, was a QB for Texas A&M in the late 90s. Owen, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. How are things going so far for you right now?
Been good, super busy. In season, have a bye week this week, so a little bit of a break.
What was it like to return to the state of Colorado where you played your freshman year of college?
I played there briefly. I was only there for a semester of that fall season, but it was awesome landing in Denver and getting to see the mountains there and driving to Fort Collins to play Colorado State. Obviously got a win, so it made it 10 times better. But yeah, being back there was really cool.
How about Mr. Henry and his play versus Colorado State? His two long plays were ridiculous.
Man, I'm telling you, I think all year he's been a big play guy. And he'll tell you firsthand all that credit goes to the guys up front in the O-line, what they've done. But obviously our goal as an offense is to run the football, and anytime we can get number 3, Robert Henry, the ball, that's our goal.
Speaking of running the football, how did you end up with a 75-yard run for a touchdown last year?
I believe it came against Temple. It was man-to-man coverage, as you know, or they don't have a man player for the quarterback. And I scrambled out, tried to make a play, and ended up being a long touchdown run.
What's it like to play for a program now that's kind of on the rise in UTSA?
That's awesome. It's super cool to just realize that this program is so new. And the success they've had in the past years being so new is also super cool. But like you said, it's a great program. Coach Traylor's done an amazing job here, and every guy in the locker room, we're super close and just really happy to be here.
What made UTSA the place for you after your first semester at Colorado and deciding that wasn't the right place?
They were heavy on me coming out of high school, so Colorado and UTSA were right hand in hand. Obviously, I chose Colorado. I got to play valuable minutes there. I'm in the Pac-12 at the time as a true freshman, so like I said, that was pretty valuable. And then in the portal, it was an easy decision. Coach Traylor and the program they have here, getting to sit behind Frank Harris for a year was awesome. Really excited I'm here, though.
Speaking of Frank Harris, what was some of the best things you were able to learn from him, not so much on the field, but off the field?
His leadership. The minute Frank walks in a room, he lights it up. So just the positive energy he always brings, how close he was with all the guys in the locker room, no matter who you were. So really the leadership thing is something I really learned from Frank.
When you got to UTSA and got the opportunity to become the full-time starter last year, what did that mean for you, especially with the history of strong quarterback play in your family?
I think it's just really always been a goal of mine. Grew up in a quarterback family, so that was kind of all we knew. My first year, it didn't go the way I wanted. I wasn't even the backup, wasn't even the 2 behind Frank. I was a 3. I had about a little adversity there, but ultimately I was super grateful. I was named the starter last year and continued to grow throughout that year, and super excited about this year.
What did that adversity teach you, let's say, about patience and understanding the process of getting to be where you want to be?
It helped me tremendously. We weren't very good at Colorado, but I was kind of feeling myself a little bit as a true freshman Pac-12 starter. I knew I was going to sit behind Frank. Didn't know I'd be the 3rd string, though, so like I said, that adversity definitely helped me, though. Just kind of stay patient, like you said, continue to work, even when things aren't going your way. But ultimately, it helped in the long run.
For folks who've never been to the UTSA campus, what's it like to attend school there?
You better like the heat because it's hot in Texas. Our campus is awesome. This race building we have, the athletics facility is great. We're actually building another one for volleyball and basketball, so it'll look super nice. Everybody's always outside because the weather's so great here. But yeah, it's definitely awesome here.
I'm in Dallas, so I know a little bit about the Texas State UTSA rivalry. but a lot of people don't know how deep that rivalry goes. What's it like to be a part of that rivalry game?
Unfortunately, 2 years now that I've played and we've lost to those guys, it stunk. But just see the Alamo Dome and even at third place last year, just packed out. It was super cool to see a rivalry. We aren't the big Texas OU rivalry, but we're the in-state rivalry. San Marcos is now but about an hour and a half or so away. So to see all those people show up was definitely a fun game to be a part of.
I often find the smaller school rivalries to be better just because a lot of people just don't know about them.
100%. Like I said, to see 50,000 people here this past time we played Texas State in the Alamo Dome was super cool.
For you, growing up, did you play a different sport growing up other than football?
Oh, yeah. The whole McCown family, we're probably bigger basketball fans, bigger basketball players than we are football players. Basketball was a huge sport growing up for me, my brother, all my uncles, my dad, so basketball is definitely huge in our family.
Who's your basketball team of choice?
It'd be the Dallas Mavericks.
All right, as a Mavericks fan, that warms my heart. Who's your guy?
Oh, that's a great question. It obviously used to be Luka. I think this year Kyrie, he's coming off an injury, but Kyrie Irving's the guy I like to watch the most.
Were you a Dirk fan growing up?
I was a Dirk fan. Dirk, Jason Kidd, all those guys.
Did you ever get a chance with your dad's athletic connections to meet any of those guys?
Let me think. No, not really formally. I got to kind of give them a high five as they were going out the tunnel a couple times, but never formally got to meet the NBA players.
With the McCown family in basketball, what intrigues all of you about basketball as much or maybe more than football?
I just think every summer we'd go back to East Texas where my dad and his family and my grandparents all live, and all the grandsons and all the boys in the family would just go to the driveway and play basketball. That's just kind of something we gravitated towards. It was something they grew up doing, so it kind of just ran in the family, and like I said, we really, really enjoy hoops.
Were you the point guard or the shooting guard?
My senior year of high school, I was the point guard. In small town East Texas, I was the point guard, but probably formally I'd probably be more of a shooting guard.
What's it like to spend your final couple years in small town East Texas coming from a bigger place?
You said it. I mean, well, I really grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina most of my life, right in the heart of Charlotte. I went to Myers Park High School, which is a big city. Fun fact, I got to back up Drake May, quarterback of the New England Patriots there at Myers Park. But COVID hit, moved to Rusk, Texas, small town, only about 4,000 people. But it was awesome going from a big city to having your own land. Was definitely a change, but nothing too crazy because, like I said, I go there every summer. But it was awesome just having a small graduation class. It was super cool because you got to get super close with those guys, and it was a great time.
I lived in Charlotte for 5 years. So what's something about Charlotte that you miss?
I did enjoy the city, having anything you wanted, be right there, be not but 10 minutes away. That was probably what I enjoy most. The basketball side of it is another part. Getting to go watch the Hornets, same deal, them being close by. So just little things like that.
Have you had a chance to go see Wemby yet?
I have. He's a freak. If you haven't done that in person, that has to be on your bucket list if you're a basketball fan.
I once interviewed a guy named Sean Bradley who was 7'6", and I am not 7'6". And you're just looking up going, wow, you're really tall.
Right, yeah.
You mentioned a little bit about COVID. How did that affect you to be able to practice, throw with players? You ended up moving. How did that impact you significantly?
So really at the time in North Carolina, specifically in Charlotte, when COVID hit, we didn't know if we were going to play football. And at the time, I needed high school film to be able to get recruited to college. So that was kind of a weird time, really for all high schoolers, as we were all trying to scramble. But we moved to East Texas. We knew Texas was going to play some football. So that's kind of how it affected me. Like I said, we had lands in East Texas, so we were outside throwing and working on our quarterback skills.
Was it nice to be able to spend maybe some unexpected time with more of your family because of COVID?
Yeah, for sure, 100%. My dad, as y'all know, played in the NFL for a while, so he was always on a different team than where we live. So he was always gone for 7 months at a time. So it would be tough on my mom at times, but he's playing the NFL, so wasn't too much we'd complain about. But, I mean, like you said, for him to be back, and fully see us play. He actually got to coach me and my brother in high school during that season and my senior year of high school, so that was everything for us just as a family.
How were you able to separate the coach-player relationship with your dad from the father-son relationship?
Growing up, it's really always been, obviously father first, but it's always been, we'd watch football and it'd always kind of be the coaching side of him come out. So I think our relationship was so good that it was never the coach and then a father. Like, it was always just one to me and my brother, and that's just how I've always seen it.
When you were watching football growing up, who were the quarterbacks that you kind of stylized part of your game after?
I think my uncle Luke got to play with him a little bit, but Drew Brees, he was a little undersized, and just mechanically he was obviously, really good, but just hearing the stories of like how he couldn't see most of the time his receivers, he just had to trust the spots of where he was throwing the ball, and that comes from knowing the route depths, the defense, what they're doing. So I thought that was always super cool to hear stories like that. Drew Brees is definitely somebody I try to model my game after.
Talking about like route trees and chemistry, how does a quarterback go about building that with the receiver? Because oftentimes receiving core can change from year to year.
I think that's all just hashing it out in the off season. We had a good routine this past off season. We'd have weights and conditioning, but about 3 days of the week we'd go and hit those route trees, like you're saying. Like I said, it goes from repetition and routes. So Devin McEwen, this guy was a leader who stepped up for us in the receiver room. So we'd have a group chat, and anytime we want to go do that, we'd get it done.
For you as a quarterback, how do you learn from what your receivers are telling you? Because sometimes they're seeing something different than what you're seeing in the pocket.
First of all, if it comes with the route, that comes from growing that connection in the off season. And then luckily we're able to have the iPads on the sideline, so we can sit next to each other and talk about what's going on. Just having that constant communication with one another is definitely helpful.
Speaking of the iPads on the sideline, which is something that your dad and your uncles didn't have for most of their careers, how was that able to help you in game?
Oh, it's awesome. Coach asked me what my thoughts are, and I'll tell him, and the iPad backs that up. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of like things like that. If we run a certain play and they give us a certain look, maybe we'll tweak something in the second half that does something different. So the iPads are definitely helpful.
One thing I've always wondered about the iPads is, does that take you out of the flow of the game at all in terms of what's going on the field?
No, not really. We kind of have a good routine coming off the drive as an offense. We all go sit with our position group and go watch what we just did on the field. And still at the time, if we're done watching, then we'll get up and support our defense who's on the field. So I don't think it really ruins the flow.
When you're on the sideline, maybe a game's not going that well. How do you kind of lift the spirits of your teammates because you're looked upon as being basically the leader of the team?
So something I do off every drive is I'll go by and I'll give everybody knuckles, no matter if I just do a pick or a touchdown or we punted the ball. I'll go do that all the time, and I'll go by those receiver groups and tight ends and ask what they're seeing. If we're getting some pressures, I'll talk to the O-line about stuff. So I just try to be consistent with that, knowing, want those guys to know I'm calm no matter what's going on, and I have their back as well as they have mine.
You ever throw in a joke or a moment of levity just to kind of break the tension?
Oh, for sure. Everybody thinks it's so intense, but at the end of the day, it's still a game. So keeping it light, throwing in a joke, just smiling, kind of having some fun in all the chaos is definitely helpful.
Away from the field, when you have the time, which probably you don't have a whole lot of during the season, but what do you like to do?
It involves a lot of sports. I just kind of recently picked up golf, so I've been outside playing golf with a bunch of teammates. I was a big basketball fan, so I'd go to the rec center and just shoot some hoops, and then I'll go watch other sports. So if it's basketball, girls soccer, baseball, softball, whatever it is, I like to enjoy other sports.
We've talked about basketball, but with the other sports, like who are your teams in baseball, soccer, etc.?
I was born in Dallas, so it involved a lot of Dallas teams, Texas Rangers, Dallas Mavs, and then football was just wherever my dad was, but it kind of stayed with those three sports.
Growing up with your dad away so much during the season, how important was your mom in kind of keeping everybody together?
She was the real MVP. I mean, I had my brother, we're 11 months apart, and then I had an older sister and a younger sister. So there was four total, and there was one point we were going to school at four different times. So that was my mom just trying to get by and hustle and trying to, get us to school on time. So, I mean, little things like that definitely didn't go unnoticed that me and my siblings realized from her and just appreciate and love her so much.
Aside from school, what's a favorite story or memory you have with your mom from growing up?
That's a good question. I just think, like I mentioned, just all the effort she put in. I mean, I mentioned the story about 4 different times of school, and that's just school. I mean, that's not even including other activities we did, whether it was my sister's cheer or baseball practice, basketball practice, whatever it is. So the effort and those little stories, I mean, there's no specific one, but just all those add up to one for me.
How competitive are you and your siblings?
Oh, super competitive. Like I said, me and my brother were 11 months apart, so you can imagine we did everything together. So many one-on-one basketball games, so many fights that resulted from those basketball games. And then my older sister, she was competitive, played basketball in high school, worked with the University of Tennessee football team and recruiting a little bit, so she'd always loved to be around sports. And then my younger sister was a big gymnast, and that gets super competitive. So obviously it all started from my dad playing football, so we were always just around competitive sports.
I'd hate to see what a game night looks like in your house. Pull out the board games, it could be an issue.
Oh yeah, a lot of trash talking.
When it comes to a game night in your household, what would you play?
We played cards. We played spades. Sometimes a big family game was obviously like Monopoly. Spoons was another one we played. So spades, spoons, and Monopoly. Those three were the ones we played.
I played a lot of spades at SMU. I'm an SMU guy like your dad was. We missed each other by a semester. Who is the best spades player in your family?
Probably my dad, just because he's played it so many more times than everybody else. So it was probably my dad.
I know that he was away a lot, but did you get a chance to hang out in any of the locker rooms at all?
Oh, for sure. The games he was playing, we tried to go visit him, especially the home games. But I mean, especially in the off season, I can remember me and my brother, while they're at meetings, we'd go throw in the indoor facility of whatever team it was while he's in meetings, and he'd come out after meetings late at night and throw the ball around as me and my brother go one on one. So definitely remember growing up around countless number of NFL facilities.
Who are some of the guys that you met growing up that you look back on now that you say, wow, that was pretty cool?
There was quite a few. We were close with Steve Smith Sr., receiver for the Panthers. This is recent, but Sam Darnold. My dad played with him in the Jets and then got to coach him at the Vikings, and I was super close with him. But I mean, there was a bunch of guys. I mean, you look back, and even if we just gave him a little fist bump, it was super cool. I mean, like all those Chicago Bears guys, Alshon Jeffrey, Matt Forte, Brandon Marshall, Brian Urlacher. I mean, that whole group was super cool.
Even though you were young, what was the takeaway from being in the locker room in terms of how you see people act and carry themselves?
Obviously, professionalism and what that kind of takes. I think as we grew up, we understood it a little bit more. Also, like I said, when we were in the bubble throwing and those guys are still meeting late at night, it kind of taught us what it takes to be at this level and the meeting and extra hours they work.
With all the analytics in sports right now, how do you use those to your advantage? Because I imagine that sometimes it can be a little bit of a paralysis by analysis where you can almost overload the mind.
That's a great question. I think my mind goes right to third down. I know we've been a little aggressive this year. Our goal is to be a little aggressive on fourth down. So just knowing, like you said, the analytical standpoint of knowing on third down, Coach Burke, our offensive coordinator, would tell us, hey, we got 2 downs here, so maybe I could check a run here if it's 3rd and 10 and we'll get half of it and go for it on 4th and 5. So whatever it might be. So that side of analytics, I think, have definitely helped.
Your dad and uncles played in an era where 4th and 2 was often a punt as opposed to
Mm-hmm.
going for it. Do you and your dad ever talk about how that mindset has changed?
I haven't talked about that much. But I just think, like you said, the more research, the more analytics and statistics that come out kind of back that whole thought process. So we haven't talked about it that much, but the idea of on third down having a 2 down mindset, same deal. Maybe I don't check it run, but maybe I check it down short of the sticks, knowing I will go for it on 4th down. So we've talked about that part a little bit, but nothing too crazy.
Where's your favorite place to play on the road?
Ooh, it's a good question. Let me think. Played at some cool places at Colorado. The scenery at Washington was really cool. Obviously, the Coliseum at USC. Got to watch Caleb Williams play there. Those places are the first two that come to my mind. The University of Tennessee, same deal. Those SEC schools obviously just do it right when it comes to attendance in those big old stadiums. Transitioning over to UTSA, I think we got to play at A&M this past year, University of Texas the year before. So any of those big-time schools, and obviously their fans and how it's always packed there was super cool.
Kyle Field and the 12th man. What was it like just to walk out and see that stadium filled?
That was awesome. I think it's every competitor's dream. At least growing up for me, it was always, you want to play in those big stadiums with all the fans there. And people think you would get nervous and all this, but like I said, you kind of grow up wanting to do that stuff. So when you get there, you're more excited than nervous. Or at least that's kind of how I felt this year. So this past year at A&M, I had a little chance there in the third quarter. It was a 4-point game for most of the third quarter. And then they pulled away a little bit. So we didn't get the win, but the experience at that was super cool.
Last year, I believe versus Tulsa, you set a school record for passing. What's it like to be in the zone for 4 quarters like that?
It's a good feeling. I think it's something you strive for. We obviously lost the game first and foremost, and that's most important. We blew a big lead at halftime, and looking back at that, like you said, it was great to be in a good flow. But also, we were up big in the first half, and we had a drive that stalled out. It was short yardage, so it was 1st and 10, then we got 9 yards, and we went 2nd one, 3rd one, and 4th one, and didn't get it. In the end, that came back to bite us. So even with the record, like you're saying, to be in the flow is all great, but I think learning to not take any drive off was definitely something I learned.
A good thing you say about oftentimes you learn more from a loss. When you do lose a game that you may think that you should win, how do you go into practice the following week going, I'm going to be better and here's how we're not going to make the same mistake again?
Well, I think it starts between the ears and it's a mindset, knowing obviously it's going to sting after the game, but at some point you have to let it go. So I think after you watch the film with your coaches, then it's time to move on. That starts really in the game. If anything bad happens in the game, kind of the same mindset. But after the game, like I said, you watch the film, move on from it, and really just how you attack the next day of practice or walkthroughs, whatever it might be, and knowing maybe you're not joking around like you were the week before, or just whatever the little details might be. Maybe you're staying after practice and hitting a throw that you missed in the previous game. So whatever it is for you that you need to work on, you maybe just get that done.
After a game, what do you do to clear your mind? Do you like play video games? Do you watch movies? How do you clear your mind just to flush either a win or a loss?
I've just always enjoyed football so much. So clearing my mind was actually just watching other college football. Something that really helped me was the following Sunday, getting to watch those NFL games, getting to watch my dad's team, just the NFL games. But it was always just watching other people play that kind of always cleared my mind. So definitely that.
Right now in the college game, obviously you don't have a chance to watch a ton of games, but who are some of the other quarterbacks that you look at and kind of say, maybe I need to do a little bit of this or a little bit of that from that person's game?
There's guys just coming across film that we've watched. I don't know if I necessarily look up to those guys, but I just appreciate their play, I think you'd say. I think recently, he's in our conference, but the North Texas quarterback, now I know he's had a super cool story, but I like to watch him play, just how calm he is. And then Garrett Nussmeier, who looks like a pro, how he moves. Carson Beck, John Mateer, who recently got hurt. His leadership style and the aggressiveness, how hard he competes is definitely cool to watch. So definitely all those guys I really enjoy watching.
Being that you're at a UT school, do you get sick of hearing about all the Arch Manning stuff and you're like, hey, I'm playing for a UT school too?
No, definitely not sick of it. Always rooting for Arch. I talked to him briefly a couple years ago when we played, but I'm always rooting for him.
I know you and your dad always talk football, but away from the football field, what do you and he like to do when it's not football?
Like I said, it was a lot of basketball, so we go out there and just play horse or a light one-on-one. Recently, it's been golf. When we have time, I know everybody's schedule's crazy, but we're getting back into golf, me, my brother, and my dad, so basketball or golf are really the main two.
How did your interest in golf start?
My going-away gift to Colorado was a set of clubs. I never played, but he was like, hey, you should try it, especially with the courses around Boulder and Colorado. So I tried it a little bit. Obviously, it wasn't very good, but just you hit one good shot and you're hooked. So that's kind of what got me going, and ever since then, I've just played here and there. I'm not very good, but I just enjoy being on the course and hanging with teammates.
Something like golf in Texas in the summer, you could melt.
Yeah, it was kind of part of it. Like I said, you hit one good drive and nothing else matters. So I just enjoy being out there.
When you look ahead, do you see yourself playing professionally one day?
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal of mine for sure. And if not, it'll be something around football, whether that's coaching or whatever it might be.
Since you mentioned coaching, what intrigues you about the coaching side, possibly getting into that later on down the line?
Growing up around football, I think it's just wanting to be around it. Obviously, if I can't play, that's kind of the next thing you look to is coaching and how I want to be around the game. So, like I said, coaching will probably be my goal if I can't play in the NFL.
With your family's history of being quarterbacks, how hard has it been for you to kind of build your own identity to separate from your dad and your uncles?
It hasn't been that hard. They've always told me it's my own journey. Like, I don't have to look up to them or necessarily model their game in any way. They've always told me, like I said, it's my own journey. So they've encouraged me to continue to do that in every way possible. Obviously, there's bits and pieces I'll take from them. I'd be stupid not to. But the majority is just building my own path.
In 10 years, in your early 30s, where do you see yourself?
Well, hopefully in the NFL. That's my goal. Hopefully I'm having a good career there.
Owen, I want to thank you so much for joining the I Play 2 podcast today and talking about your time in a quarterback family, currently playing football for UTSA, your newfound love of golf. Take care and continued success wherever your football playing and coaching career takes you. Thank you again, man.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun. Birds up.